East Cleveland, now the third school district in Ohio to face a state takeover after another failed report card. But the two districts already controlled by the state failed on their recent report cards too. So that begs the question, are these state school takeovers really working?
Well, turns out we aren't the only ones asking. News 5's Tara Molina is always investigating, and she found the state studying whether or not they do work while continuing to take over.
I found the study on these takeovers, ordered in June, won't be completed until May. By then, the state will have taken over another district, East Cleveland, before really knowing whether these state takeovers are even working. Youngstown and Lorain, the two Ohio districts under state control right now. So, how are they doing after intervention? Well, both failed again this year, begging a question some have been asking for a while. Are these takeovers, or as the state calls them, academic distress commissions, actually working?
Based on the results that we've seen, they're not effective. Lorain actually went from a D to an F, so they got worse.
For background, this is all relatively new. House Bill 70 passed in 2015. Controversial from the start, it allowed a state takeover of a district with 3 consecutive failed report cards, failures to meet state standards. So, what does that entail? An academic distress commission is appointed, selected for the most part by the state superintendent. That group hires a CEO to run and control the district, and that CEO answers to them, not the community's elected school board. A recent review in Youngstown found the district, under state control, still not in line with state standards. In Lorain, the CEO refused a review at all, and that was before this year's failed state report cards.
I've taken the leadership on this, yeah, at least in the House.
State Representative Kent Smith of Euclid introduced legislation that would have pressed pause on the state takeovers while they determine what does and doesn't work. It was blocked 4 times. Instead, the back and forth led to a study due in May that will be the first real review since 2015 of whether the state takeovers are working. But in the meantime, before the state superintendent's office determines if they're effective,
we're continuing to take over public school districts.
Therein lies the whopper. If it's not clear that they're working, why are they expanding? I asked the Ohio Department of Education, quote, if the state is just now officially studying whether these interventions are making a difference, why intervene in another district before the study is complete in May, before the state knows whether or not they're working? Their response, quote, the law requires the department to create an ADC, or intervention, when a district meets the conditions laid out in the law.
Until the Ohio legislature stops these state takeovers, they're going to continue. So it's not just, East Cleveland's not going to be the last district to be taken over.
So then what's the point of the study?
You raise an excellent question.
And despite issues in both state-controlled districts, Lorain and Youngstown, Governor Kasich has announced continued support for his plan, even going as far as to say he would veto any plan that would halt state takeovers. For more information on the background here and more from our local politicians, you can go to our News 5 app or our website. Reporting in East Cleveland tonight, I'm Tara Molina, News 5.